surgeon come and tell students, probably most surgical students are in TH, are in Shika, talking. And then I reflected and I said, okay, but I'm not a surgeon. That's what I do. I'm not a woman. That's my gender. I'm not a Muslim. That's my religion. And I said, my identity is not a mother because I have 6 kids, or a wife because I happen to have a husband, who, by the way, is a houseman and could divorce me tomorrow. I thought I should speak on reflections. And reflection, I'm not reflecting what has happened, I'm talking about reflections. And by the way, for those of you who are scientists, I'm not talking about reflection in physics. I'm talking of reflection in humanities. And so therefore, why reflection? Why did I choose to talk to students about reflection? I'm choosing to talk to students about reflection because reflection is perhaps the singular most important thing that differentiates human beings, Homo sapiens, from all other animals. All living things we learned in biology eat, they have some water, they rest, they reproduce, they breathe. We do everything a dog does. We do everything a cat does. The only thing we do that these animals don't do are things that have to do with our medial parafrontal cortex, our circular area, and that is about thinking. Thinking. And I'm choosing for us to talk about reflections because unfortunately, while today we saw the value and the beauty of technology, we saw how we got prices for tweeting. We got how, right now as I'm speaking, it's possible because I've been tweeting, thousands and thousands of people will be watching, yet it comes with its side effects. And as a doctor, I'll tell you that there's no singular thing on earth that does not have side effect. In fact, for those of you who are Muslims, I can make joke about Muslims because I happen to be one, and I will not be misconstrued. For those of you who are Muslims and who spend 3-5 hours in the night praying because there's an upcoming exam, you put your forehead on the floor. Over time, you have a mark that signifies you pray long, long hours. But that's not equivalent to passing exams. So, opportunity cost. What do you want to do? Now, I'm also choosing to talk about reflections because it is reflections that has made me who I am. And I'm telling you that there's no singular person on earth that has ever turned the wheel or discovered something without reflections. And I'm choosing to talk about this because this is the one attribute of our humanness that we are almost on the verge of losing. Imagine your life, all of you. When you wake up in the morning, for those of you who are Muslims, just before you rush into the toilet to ease yourself and do ablution, you look at your phone to see if there was an urgent message. For those of you who are Christians, you look at your phone before you kneel down to pray. And sometimes even after the ablution, you look at your phone. You sit in class, you tweet, Instagram, Facebook, everything. You do everything that technology allows. The only thing we do not give ourselves permission to do is to reflect. Now, what the thesis I want to put forward to you is that it doesn't matter how you read. It doesn't matter how you tweet. It doesn't matter how much you're in social media. You cannot make progress without reflection because that's the difference between your yesterday and today. And that's the barrier between your today and tomorrow. So therefore, I had worked for Mr. Gates, so I had worked very, very closely, and I had seen how he thought. For those of you that are doing economics, I'd worked pretty closely with Jeffrey Sachs, and I'd seen him. A lot of people who make things happen take time off to think. Thinking is the only thing that makes us move from stage A to stage B. The question I want to ask is, how much time do you take to simply think? When I told my friends that when I am on vacation, especially when I was in the Gates Foundation, because it's intense, you go to work, you close at 5, and that's when Seattle wakes up. So you literally, I work literally almost 14 hours every day, 15 hours every day. But when I'm on holiday, I literally switch my computer off, put off my computer, put off my everything, put it in the wardrobe, lock it up, and that is it. No phone, no tweeting, no mails, no nothing. And that for me is the singular most important part of my time and my life as I progress. I'm using this to raise a story of, a lot of people ask me, how do you do what you do? You can only follow your passion. We've heard about passion. We've heard about dreams. We've heard about making impact in the lives of people. You can only find that little niche that is yours when you reflect. And having time to reflect is not about talking about it. If you tweet about reflection is important, I'm not sure you've gotten anything. What will make a difference is when you go to bed tonight, the last 1 hour of your day, don't look at your phone. Don't look at your accounts. Don't look at anything. Simply switch off. Lie on your bed. Reflect on what you've had today. And then you would have done justice to the people who invested time today sharing their lives with you. Now, as a young girl growing up, I had a dream. I wanted to be a pilot. And at that time, no girls were taken into the piloting school. And there were only two professions that the best students in the school do. You're either a doctor or an engineer, if you're in the sciences. And if you're in the arts, you're a lawyer or an accountant. And I was a science student. So I was divided between medicine and engineering, and I was offered both opportunities. So I took to go and study medicine. And I did study medicine. But while studying medicine, what did I find? Luckily, I was very, very privileged to have learned early in life that when you go to communities, what you see is really the reality of the life of the people. Training as, I did my undergraduate thesis on the psychovaginal fistulae because I was amazed at how could a woman be going all over the place and she's smelling urine? I was disturbed. I decided to study obstetrics and gynecology. So here I came to ABU, spent 6 years as postgraduate. I didn't repeat. That's the minimum years you spend to become a gynecologist. So 6 years. I then became a surgeon, and then I was treating one person at a time, one surgery at a time, one patient at a time. That's not me. I reflected, how many days do I have and how many patients am I going to see? I then looked at it. The main reason why girls and women, and if you look at the statistics in Nigeria for high maternal mortality and child mortality, is simple. I come from the north of Nigeria. A lot of it comes from lack of education of women. Completion of secondary school happens to be the highest denominator in determining the health of women and children. So I decided to go to public health. But then as a public health physician, yes, I was educating women after the fact, when they're sick or when they're adults. So now for the most part of my life, and this comes from reflection, I sat, is this what I really want to do? And believe it or not, in every bad situation, there's some good, if only you reflect. In every bad situation, there's some good if only you reflect. My biggest reflection came with the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. I happen to come from Borno, and my village was taken over for over a year by Boko Haram. That was my inspiration to finally tilt the way of what I do. My reflection took me to the fact that whatever I did as a doctor is limited until I stop or I walk myself out of the job, until I stop as many women from seeing doctors as possible. And for me, that comes with education. And therefore, so as I thought and thought, I reflected, the one thing that came to me, and I said to you, Boko Haram gave me an inspiration. I had a dream, and my dream is to defeat Boko Haram. And I'm serious, and I'm going to defeat Boko Haram. For those of you who do not understand Hausa, Boko Haram literally means Western education, or forbidden Western education, kind of forbidden Western education. So no Western education. It's not no, it's stronger than no, it's forbidden Western education. And that, because over the years, since I was in ABU, over the last 20 years or so, because I'm in the north, and I understand that the only reason why I am who I am is because my parents saw the value in education, and they decided to invest in my education. Otherwise, I could be one of those many women. Now, I thought, myself and Haji Abdul-Kisu, of blessed memory, decided that we need to give back to where we come from. We started a program called Girl Child Concerns. We started giving scholarship to young girls, and we harass our friends to give scholarship to young girls. Now, my decision to defeat Boko Haram comes from the fact that I believe that the only way we can defeat Boko Haram is when we ensure that Boko is halal. And there's no better way of making sure Boko is halal than giving Boko to young girls from Boko Haram areas. So therefore, we started taking girls that have been affected by the insurgency, girls that have been, whose parents have been killed, girls from the IDP camps, girls in whose presence their fathers the fathers were beheaded, their mothers were raped, their brothers were killed. We took them and took them out of the northeast and put them back to school. And currently we have lots and lots of girls finishing school and going back to their parents. By the way, we have 4 in Notre Dame University in the US now studying. Now, that's not enough. We just did about 500. If we're going to defeat Boko Haram, we have to get girls in the thousands from Boko Haram areas finishing school. So therefore, even though I'm a surgeon, we're now having a school in Borno where we're going to have thousands of girls affected by Boko Haram go to school, finish, and they all become, every one of them becomes like me, like Her Excellency, like anyone. And so therefore, give us 10 years. In 10 years, Borno, the seat of Boko Haram, is going to be the Borno that's flooded with women that are highly educated. Thank you. So for me, it's not what I did that's important. It's the process. It's the process. How did it come about from a very contented surgeon at Ahmadu Bello University to the head of the Gates Foundation, having lots and lots of salary, big salary, to doing charity work, and having that inspiration? It only comes from reflections. And so therefore, my gift is, and honestly speaking, you would have failed me and failed yourself, if tonight you do not take at least the last 1 hour and reflect on the so many things people spoke about today. I always say that any talk without an action point at the end is actually just a talk. What difference will it make in my life? What difference will it make in your life? So therefore, as you go back, I would want to urge you to reflect on what we've heard today, to reflect on our current situation in Nigeria, to reflect on the so many assumptions we have, through which we actually shade and check off our responsibilities. And for a change, take charge and be the one in charge of your destiny, and be the one in charge of the destiny of Nigeria, because nobody is going to change our situation until we change what is within ourselves. I thank you.